Hello! I hope you can all see me here in Brownie Towers. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. I'm here to show my support for Abergavenny Food Festival, my favourite festival of the year. And I thought I'd show my support by, I've been asked many times about my business and how I started. And I know there's lots of you out there that are interested in starting your own business. So what I'm going to do for you this evening is I'm going to break it down into 3 parts for you. I'm going to talk a bit about my story, and I know there might be some of you out there that have heard various parts of it before, but please bear with me. There's lots that you may not have heard before. And then in the second part, I'm going to talk about how you could become successful online or start your own business in your own way. And then finally, I'm going to leave it to you to ask as many questions as you like. So I also start by saying that at Brownie Towers here, we have got a lot of stone walls. So if we are interrupted with video any time, they are actually going to be recording this. So they will be sending you a link with this. So let's start off by saying welcome. I hope you have filled your glasses well within the whole vibe of Abergavenny. And welcome to my story. So I started 13, 14 years ago, being a stay-at-home mum, 2 small boys, and I just loved all things food. I particularly love baking. Now, looking after the children, there was only one income coming into the house, and it was in the height of the recession. So I decided that I would really love to be able to get some money into the house and also give me something to do as well. Now, we were very lucky that a local community village shop opened up, and they were urging locals and volunteers to bake and let people know that, that there's lovely things on offer for them. So I thought, my father-in-law, my lovely father-in-law said, why don't you start selling your family favorite chocolate brownies at the local village shop? And I thought to myself, crikey, you know, after having kids, this would be fantastic. I'd be a real person again if I could make, you know, my own money, 10, 20 pounds a week selling my chocolate brownies. I could afford to buy my own soiree for once. So I started selling at the local village shop with just a spring in my step, and I thought it was fabulous. But the people that were coming on holiday there just literally started writing remarks in the book saying they loved these chocolate brownies, but they planted a seed in my mind. And they said that when they're not on holiday, they'd really like to be able to get these brownies where they lived across the rest of the UK. And so I thought to myself, well, that would be interesting, and that could make for a little business idea. But really, how would it work? How can you possibly send brownies, cakes through the post? Well, let's give it a go. Let's try it. So I set about and I baked a box of brownies. I baked some brownies and I made a box around them actually. And I toddled off to my local post office and I put them in the post and I sent them all around through the system to my neighbour actually, expecting to receive a box of crumbs in the end. But do you know what? It worked. They came back. Brownies are fantastic. They travel so well. So the next thing comes into my mind, and I'm telling my husband, I think I've got an idea of a little business here, and it'll be fantastic. It's flexible. I can work from home. I can work around the children. And I thought, well, really, are these brownies any good? You've got to try and work it out. People are on holiday. They're having a fabulous time. Family and friends have always been nice about them. But seriously, are they any good? So I put them forward for, in those days, there was the True Taste of Wales Awards, and of course, the Great Taste that you may well have heard about if you're fellow foodie friends. And I won, and I got stars on my products. And I thought, you know, we've definitely got an idea here, but how do I let people know about it? Well, the wonderful thing that is the internet, and that's how. So I said to my husband, we need a website. Remembering we've got no money for this whatsoever. So we are starting from nothing, and I'm convincing him that to spend a couple of £100, I managed to talk somebody into the village to make me a 2-page website where basically I just had photos from my phone that I put on there, and I wrote all about them, that I'd won these awards and people could buy them by going through PayPal, and they'd be sent across the UK to wherever they lived. This started gaining a bit of momentum now, and people were just loving it. At the same time, I thought I need to tell the rest of the world about this. So I wrote my very first press release. I didn't even know what a press release looked like. but I made a press release and I popped it in a box of brownies and I sent them to the top 10 food editors of various magazines and newspapers across the country. Now, I didn't really understand the idea of the sort of journalism, but of course, a freshly baked box of brownies on their desk with somebody telling them they've got some home-cooked, award-winning products, it was fantastic, and they started writing me up. So from then on, the reason it works so well is it is a good product. I'm extremely proud and passionate about my product. I know they're good, but also I know it works very, very well as a gift. And so it was giving them something to write about automatically, and people just started coming to the website. Then people were buying them to be sent for their friends, because although they're chocolate brownies, I'm actually in the gift industry as well as the food industry. So people are sending them to their family and friends, and it's home baked chocolate brownies. It's almost, I call them like a kutch in a box. So it's that unique gift that everyone's looking for. But most importantly, during that time of recession, they were affordable, because that's really important to me. As a gift buyer, we're having to buy lots of gifts for lots of different reasons. We had no money, we had very little money, and everyone has to think about where to spend it. And I honestly believe people like buying from real people. And so that's what started it off. Now, over the years, it's grown and expanded for two reasons, really. I'm lucky enough, my husband saw very early on that orders were coming in thick and fast, and we had to perhaps increase on production. I was very wary of this because it's very important to me that the recipe maintained the same. And then the other side of it with me is, anyone who knows me out there knows I've kind of got a voice like a foghorn. I am not scared of making myself look stupid. And I told everyone and anyone I was willing to, first of all, you let the locals know, then you let the local Evening Post know, then you go and you let the radio stations know. And they always knew that I was ready to tell a story when a story needed telling. The wonderful thing in those days, and now, is social media. I mean, in the days I started this, I absolutely adored Twitter. Some fantastic customers of mine told me that I should join Twitter. I thought it would be crazy. How on earth, why would anyone want to listen to me talking about baking? As it was, I didn't talk an awful lot about baking, but that immediately got me into where I was connecting with people from my cottage in the middle of nowhere. And those people were real supporters, and I felt that they were part of my workforce as well. Actually, they managed to vote for me, got me more awards, made more people aware of it. They were contacting various celebrities got to find out about my product. Once you get the product in front of people, then it speaks for itself. So over the years, we have grown and grown. It's been like a domino action. You buy for Auntie Sheila. She thinks it's a great idea. The price point is right. We are absolutely 100% on customer service. And so then whoever they've sent to, they think it's a great idea and they buy for themselves. So it's grown organically like that. It's a wonderful thing. It hasn't come without its pitfalls. There's been my highest moments. The day I had a phone call from Wimbledon, saying that they'd like to stock our brownies because the chief executive had been sending them as gifts and was absolutely obsessed with them, and we've been supplying them for the past 5 years now. There's been some real lows where in the early days there was postal strikes. I was using the post office and the postal strikes were hitting various depots, so I may as well have been throwing boxes out the window. Now, the minute that these aren't arriving for people, your business can, as quickly as it's grown, can go very, very quickly downhill. So we had to think very quickly how to change that, and we switched to couriers pretty much immediately. Even though it was more expensive, we explained to our customers, we communicated, and we put extra pound on the box in order to get that fantastic service with the courier, and we haven't looked back. I'm a great believer that things happen for a reason. Some of the other highlights for me were just really, because I am so interested in my food, is being able to go to shows like the Abergavenny Food Festival and meet some of my amazing food chefs and producers that I am in total awe of. And to be in that world is just absolutely fantastic. The downside of these things is that it can be something you have to work on a work-life balance. And we found that about 6 or 7 years ago that, you know, the business is going fantastically well. but you look around at your family, at the boys growing up, and there was no time for anything other than the business, and you have to take stock of yourself and realize, what are we actually doing this for? And that's where we made a very, very scary decision for Rob, who was the one a real job in the house, to actually leave his job and come and work alongside me. I mean, he'd always worked alongside me. He was just doing another job in the meantime. But it was scary times. So it was the best thing for us to do, because it meant that one or either of us were there to be able to look after the boys, to make sure homework was getting done, to make sure they were doing the piano practice. I don't think they really thanked us for that. But it's important, because they go so quickly. So we've moved on now. It's been 13, or 14 years since we sold those first brownies in that village shop. Now, I mean, we are selling it in the thousands, the hundreds and hundreds every day. I say that I've created a monster, but I wouldn't have done it any other way. I'm glad I can't know what I knew now in the beginning, because perhaps it's too scary to go that way. But I genuinely think, and this is why I wanted to do this, that this is an opportunity that anybody out there, if I can do it, anybody can do it. If you've got an interest in all things baking, people now, specifically at this time, as you've seen, people now are understanding the internet, are understanding buying products from the internet more than they did ever before. And if you're in a situation where you've got a passion of yours and you want something that's flexible, it doesn't have to turn into a crazy business like we have here now. You can keep tabs on it. But I think now, I've always said it, to be honest with you, but now I think is the ultimate time to do it. There is no reason why not. I've always said that no jobs are ever secure. So doing what you love, you've got nothing to lose. And one of the main points that I would make in setting up your own business, and what I did was very kind of elves and shoemaker style, is not spend a lot of money on the outlay. There's no reason to do that. First and foremost, you've got to make sure that you've got something that people are interested in, and not just your family and friends telling you that you're fabulous and your sponge or your shortbread is amazing. They're all very nice to you at the time, but really see a need. You know, would you buy it? Would you pay that money for it? Why? You've got to ask these questions, and that really is what takes you to another level. So there's who I go with. That's kind of my story so far. There are so many exciting things that brownies have opened doors for us along the way. You know, not only with the contracts we have at some of these incredible, we have Fortnum and Masons now, which is just unbelievable, with Wimbledon and all sorts, but just that the people I've met, and specifically at Abergavenny Food Festival, I think, you know, there was one year where I was fangirling over Yotam Ottolenghi so much I nearly spilled my suave over him. It's a moment that maybe I should choose to forget, but it's an incredible industry to be in, so I urge anyone to do it. Now, thinking about doing it, you may have already started. You may be thinking of doing it. You may be thinking of taking the plunge. You may be in a position now, perhaps, your jobs aren't there for you anymore. This is, as we see, happening on a daily basis. What can you do, and why should you do it? I mean, I also think that this can apply not just to foods, but to any products. And I can tell you from the grassroots up, and not in any sort of type of business managerial speak, because I don't think I'm a business person. First of all, your product or your service, why do you want to do it? Why do you think other people would buy it? What is it about them? I mean, if it's down to food, home-baked food will never go out of fashion. Never, ever, ever. So if you're passionate about it, and if you love it, but also if you're willing to work hard, and like I say, I'm not talking about building such a large company as we now have. I'm just talking about, even in the early days, I never blinked at the fact that I'd be up baking all night and then up early in the morning with the children. It just had to be done, and it's actually something that I thrived on. So I think you've really got to understand your limitations and say, not am I going to put in 4 hours a day on this. You've really kind of got to go the whole hog on it. I mean, still flexible working, still working around the children, and that's fantastic, but you've really got to be committed, is what I'm saying. So you've got a product, and you want to take it to market. You first of all, you've got to taste testing who aren't your family. Otherwise there could be a lot of fallouts there. So go into your community, into your area, and I've never paid a penny of advertising. I've always sampled brownies, and that's the most important thing. So don't think of it as you're giving away food. Think of it as vital market research. So you're finding out what people think of them, and you know then if there's something you've got to tweak. You've also got to think about how you're going to present them. If you make the best bread, if you make the best biscuits, how are you going to put that forward to a customer at the end? It's got to look kind of good. And that was one of the main things I did when I started. I wanted it to be a gift product. So not only did I know that we were putting really quality ingredients into the brownies and they were very well baked, I wanted to make sure that when you received them, you felt a bit of an ooh and ah when you're opening them. Now I started that off really basically by using some post office boxes you can get off the shelf, some really basic boxes. But the main thing was I was wrapping them nicely with all natural products. You know, I'm wrapping them in grease proof. You get a raffia bow, you could use string on it, and then I'm wrapping them in a tissue paper. I mean, it sounds like a lot of packaging. It's not. It's all recyclable. But the point is, your people see with their eyes, they eat with their eyes. But especially if you're looking to enter the gift market, you've got to make it gift appropriate, I guess. So that's another thing that you might think of. Also, look towards what other people are doing. I'm telling you exactly now what I'm doing, but you know, look and see what I'm doing. But saying that, also, I don't recommend that you go in and you steal things off people's websites. It's been done in the past. I think once you start stealing bits and bobs, then why would you have the need to do that? If you felt full confidence in your own product, there's no need to do that. And also you wouldn't feel like it's yours. So you've got to make your mark on it. Because if you're not passionate about it and you don't want to put your mark on it, then why are you doing it in the first place? Websites. Nowadays, it's really, really simple, I think, to get a website up, and you don't need, again, to spend much money on it. There's all these online website builders, and they don't have to make it easy for someone to buy. If it's going to be online and you're going to be sending them over the rest of the UK, you've got to make it easy for them to buy. Now think about it. We all buy things online every day. If you put a website up and you tell them to send you a check, and then once you receive the check, you'll send it out. Well, that's it. No, it's a faff. No one's going to do that. No one's going to do that. So you have to think and put yourself in the position of the customer all the time. So PayPal is so simple. You have an email address, then PayPal, everybody knows how to do PayPal. You're all covered. It's very legitimate and it's easy. So for your basic website to get you going on, you just need a PayPal checkout and you need some product photos with all these fantastic phones everybody has nowadays, which I don't really know how to work. You can take your own product shots and you can put them on there, and you just need to let people know what you're doing. And by doing that, it's a great idea to reach out to social media. I started in the early days of doing competitions on Twitter, very interactive ones, very fun ones that got people excited, that gave you a personality. And this is the other point. When you do a website, many years ago, I spoke to somebody who wanted my advice because she was setting up an organic baby food. And she showed me, she said her husband was going crazy at her because she'd spent over £5,000. She'd never sold a pot of baby food. She'd spent over £5,000 on this baby food and on this website for the baby food. And she said, could you take a look at it for me? And I went and I looked at it, and literally this website had all the whistles and bells. There was so much text in there, so much information, I couldn't even take it in. And I went back to her and I said, why did you create this company? And she said, oh, because my daughter, when she was born, could only eat this. And so I felt that I would make this for her myself. I said, there's not even a picture of you on there. And there's no mention that you have a daughter. You know, why would anyone buy from you? So that was a really expensive mistake that she had made very, very early on. The other thing you need to do is embrace some of the sort of institutions and help around you. Number one, the Welsh Assembly. The Welsh Assembly have been fantastic. There are so many different elements to them. There is Mentor of Business, Kuwine, who are so eager for more production, for small cottage industries to be created in our area, that they're there for support. Don't be put off by them in any way, shape or form. Turn to them, speak to them. They want to hear from people like you. If you're doing a food business, number one, the first people you get in is environmental health. I know that's probably, you know, put shivers down people's minds. They're not. They're there to help. They're there to assist, and they're there to show you how to make things in a controlled, clean environment. Yeah, there's a bit of paperwork that goes along with it, but to be honest with you, they're there to help you. So these are kind of things that you can come across that, I don't know, that might be pushing you off in the first instance. So we talked about, it doesn't need to cost a lot of money. I started off with ingredients money. Then as things got bigger, the more kind of we sold, the more money we had in the pot to sort of do a rebrand. And when I rebranded, I still wanted to keep it very rustic, very simple. I didn't want to go down the glossy route, and I have never, ever, ever wanted to go down the supermarket route. Let me tell you that. Many people have told me over the years, "Oh, are you looking to get into Waitrose?" I'm like, that's the last thing I would ever want, because then I would effectively be running a factory for Waitrose, and yeah, they would be paying me no money. And I'd prefer to deal with my customers direct. Keep your eggs in lots of baskets. All those customers out there, you can look after super well. You can still make a healthy profit. They're not paying over the odds for a lesser quality product, and everyone's happy. And communicate with your customers. Customer service is key. When something goes wrong, and things will and do go wrong regularly, the more we send out, the more there's going to be something that's not delivered, something that goes AWOL, something that gets damaged. We'll immediately put that right, no questions asked. These things happen. Somebody, a customer asked me the other day, and she said that she was very disappointed it arrived a day late because she wanted it for somebody's birthday. And we pointed out that unfortunately our couriers do work to 98.9% on that day, but we can't guarantee. And she came back and she said, well, unless you can guarantee 100%, I won't be using you again. And I'm afraid you don't need to use this again, because no one can guarantee anything 100% in these days and before. I mean, who knows, as car breaks down, who knows what weather's going to come along. But no, there's no guarantees in this life, as we well and truly know at the moment. So manage your customers' expectations, I think is a really big one. What else can I say about doing your own business? Please keep questions coming in, because if you want them specifically related to yours, or something, or anything you want to know about our business, then I'd really love to hear from you. Like I said, this has been a massive opportunity for me, because I'm always asked so many times to give advice. It sounds awful, but just to talk about it, how we've done it, and what we do now, to quantify what we do. Since selling those brownies 14 years ago, we're now sending out, which 100 of you out there are going to be receiving a box of brownies. You lucky lot, as long as you're still listening to me. So those gift boxes, we have, I suppose last year or pre-COVID, we were doing about 100 boxes a day. Now, given a regular day, not Mother's Day, not Christmas, that's more like 250, 300 a day. So that's kind of the volume we're doing. Luckily for us, again, very luckily, we saw the need that we had to expand out of Brownie Towers, and we bought an old poultry farm a mile down the road here, which is the Brownie Barns now. Which our elves are loving. We have got 3,500 square foot that we can get them all. They're free range elves. They're running around happy as Larry, not being stuck, cooped up in Gower Cottage anymore. So that's how our business has evolved. If you have great aspirations, then, you know, really the sky is your limit to what you want to do, as much as you want to put into it. But also, if you just want to earn a little bit of money from home, a bit of extra money, it's there for you. You can do it. Anyone can do it, and it's very simple. I'm going to see if we've got any questions now. See how well I am at sorting this out. I just saw someone's mention about why is there wine in. This is the questions that I want to hear. Why is there wine in my glass and not gin and tonic? Now, can I also mention that an awful lot of my customers have become very cheeky old friends now. So I've moved on to the red for this evening. Right, this is interesting. What is more important in making a food business a success? Passion or skill stroke talent? That's from Claire Noz. Hiya. Bit of both. Passion. If you don't have the passion, there's no point. If you've got the skill and the talent, if you haven't got the passion, it won't work. So I think that's the answer. I always tell people that I'm kind of, you know, people think, oh, you must be an amazing baker. I think I'm a one-trick pony, you know, baking, but I am in absolute awe of these incredible, look at the bake-off people, look at what they're creating. I'm in awe of them. I couldn't touch that at all. But I know what makes a bloody good brownie. I know what is a good bake. So talent, yes, but it's what you do with that talent. And I think passion overrides that. Another one. Caris Thomas, do you think the homemade food gifts industry is saturated? No, absolutely not. Because when I started this, my husband, it was at the time of, do you remember the cupcake craze with Sex and the City, and everyone was doing cupcakes? And my husband literally, well, he's laughing at me anyway, because he just thought this is another hobby of mine, along with all the crochet and what have you. But he was saying to me at the time, he said, you know, it's just going to die a death, same as cupcakes. Anniversaries, weddings, to say, but unfortunately, you know, a lot of things we go out to are for very sad times when people are suffering illnesses and or deaths. People are looking for alternative gifts. So homemade food gifts, absolutely not. I think and once people clock on and they become very loyal, and I think it's really important to remember there's no point in getting a customer once. You've got to keep that customer and keep them loyal, because they'll be loyal to you not only with the business and spending more with you, but they'll also be loyal to you and they'll be telling their friends about you, and that is it's worth its weight in gold. Like I said, don't do any advertising. Christina, I can't say your surname, Maciejewski, sorry. How did you decide on your branding? This was really fun. A bit of an interesting story. This, talking of one of the down times in the early days, is when I decided to trademark the company business. And very early on, I was actually called myself, because we live in Wales and I'm called Kate, everyone locally used to call me Kate Brownies. And so I called myself Kate's Brownies. Now, if any of my really old customers out there will remember this, I went to trademark that, and I got hit with a massive solicitor's letter from another company. I don't really want to say what the company name was, saying that you're not allowed to call yourself that. And I went, okay, that's fine. I won't do that. I'll call myself something else. At the time, I was a bit upset because it was my name and that's what I did. But I thought, you know, we had no money. I'm not going to fight this going to court. We could lose our house over me just being, you know, annoyed about it. So I actually turned to my customers at the time, and I said to them, I said, I've got to change my name, and I don't know what to call myself. But anyone who comes up with the best idea will win a box of brownies every month for a year. And the person came up with Gower Cottage Brownies. And you know what? Again, I'm a great believer that things happen for a reason. I thought it was karma. And I think Gower Cottage Brownies is exactly what it says on the box, and it's done me far, far better than Kate's Brownies ever would do. The whole idea behind the gift box and everything, I felt it was really important to maintain. If you touch the box, it's that sort of rustic, you know, the brown paper you'd get at the back of a school jotter. I wanted it to be rough and rustic, because that's me, because it's a country cottage, it's home baking. I didn't want anything glossy and shiny at all. So thank you, Christina. That was a bit of a roundabout on that. Here we go. What certifications did you need to have when you started your business? Food hygiene levels. That's something you call in the EHO for. Really important. Although they are not legally binding, you ought to have your food hygiene certificates. It is showing due care and concern. You know, so it would be crazy not to have yourself and anyone else to do the basic food hygiene levels. It's a great leveler. It's really good to just keep reminding yourself, especially in these times. And you can do it online for about 20 quid. There's lots of them online. In my days, we had to go for a 2-day course, but no, lots of them online. Here's from Bill. Hello, Bill. Missing you this year. Does it help to have a single product, or would seasonal variations be a semi-sensible approach? Interesting. Lots of people have asked me over the years, why don't I do something else as well as the brownies? And I'm very, very much of the opinion, keep it simple, stupid. What else would work as well as these brownies? Flapjacks are great, don't get me wrong. I just think a delicious sort of decadent, oozy chocolate is the key. And I think you do one thing and you do one thing really, really well. We have branched out into various different varieties of flavors, and we kind of do those seasonal. We do our figgy pudding in the Christmas time and things like that. But I do try and keep it absolutely simple. I'm all for a simpler life. I don't know how I've managed to do that. But Torrington, we're not going to ask that question. Very, very rude. Sophie Bratty, do you eat a brownie every day? I may look like it, Sophie, but no. I have to be honest with you. I can't eat those brownies now, but I do love the blondies, and I could eat a blondie every day, and I try and stop myself. Maybe in another year or so, I'll have put myself off those as well. Catherine, what insurance did you need to run the food business from your own home? Again, a very interesting one. We did come a few croppers on that. We realised that was a bit of an issue, and I went through the NFU, who are very used to obviously a scenario where farms, and so they tend to insure farms, and that's where I found the best one. But yeah, it was tricky to start off with. Our insurances have to gone up as well when we do food shows, because we have to have a ridiculous amount of public liability if we're on the streets of London. Different boroughs ask for different things, but for your basic home, and yes, you do have to have your insurance on that to make sure obviously yourself is covered. Who else have I got? A single present certificate. Okay, Michelle, you're interested in hearing how to scale up from a home setting. Do you still cook from home, or have you had to, you're entering that now, but recipe-wise, has anything changed? Right. Yeah, Michelle, we've had to scale up, and that's where Rob, my husband, has been amazing in that. His background is kind of a project manager in the engineering industry. So we've made a very, very good team. And he scaled up from me sort of like one pan. Recipe wise, no, nothing's changed. And he's just made it a lot simpler so that we have other people that can bake in, don't necessarily have to same all the time, and that's about processes. Anywhere else? I think I'm done on those Q&A. I should have ticked when I've answered them, shouldn't I? Oh, hello. Oh, hello, Edwina. This is hilarious. This is from one of my old bosses. She can't believe I'm doing what I do now. How many staff do we have? Right, okay, so obviously I have my husband. And then we have 5, I say, permanent members of staff, but then we have what we call our flexi staff. So we have probably a couple of those in every day. When it gets to Christmas time, there can be as many as sort of 13 people in there as well. We like to have flexi staff because we like to be able to have local mums that perhaps don't want full-time, full part-time and what have you, or there's sort of, we've got students at the moment that are in between, so it's just nice to give opportunities to people who maybe only just want to work either a couple of days or a few hours a week. Anyone else for anything else? I should have clicked which ones they've done. I told you how I run a business online. I have no idea, given that I'm so technically useless. When did I decide to branch into gluten-free, and how do you keep that separate from non-gluten-free? From Rhoda McKinnon. Hi, Rhoda. Quite early on, gluten-free, and the reason I did gluten-free was because one of my son's friends was gluten-free, so it just seemed natural because we always had brownies around the house, and just will. The Dove's gluten-free flour for that element. What we do is we do them in to separate. So and all trays, they're all done separately. And we also, as a business, we have to have a regular sort of spot checks to the labs to check gluten content, but even because there's so in it, it's a million miles away from the stations as well. There's so many particles or what have you, and it's not even there. I'm going to go and look on this chat session because I think I'm missing out some chat on here. Oh, you said, Rhoda, you used to love our Monday competition. Do you remember it? It was on Twitter. It was hashtag free Gower Cottage Brownies or free Gower Brownies. And a lot of people were really confused because I think they thought that I was holding on to these young girl guides or something. It was absolutely hilarious. And we used to trend on Twitter on a Monday between 1 and 2, just with really stupid questions that used to be, I used to like the ones that are Eurovision related or rugby related. It was absolutely nothing to do with brownies. We just used to all obviously sit there and have a complete laugh for an hour on Twitter. I miss those old days of Twitter. Why is my glass full of wine and not gin? Thank you very much, Julie Dodds. Julie Dodds is a lovely old customer who actually sends me gin. So if I've got any other customers out there like Julie, be more Julie, send me gin. See, Julie, I've clearly run out. That's why I'm on the red line. Henry and Kim would like to know, what's your favorite beach on the Gower? Now, this is an interesting one because obviously we've been lucky enough to have a lot of different magazine and editorials, and you'll always see me with the children on the beach on a Gower, was just happily frolicking around with a plate of brownies. And during those times, it's like, don't believe what you read all the time, because we never had time to go to the beach because we were too busy running the business. But my favorite beach in the Gower, should I tell anyone, because you'll all go, it's actually Broughton Bay down in Llanmadog. That's where Rob is from originally, just 6 miles down the road. It's absolutely beautiful. But our local one is Oxwich, where the Beach House Oxwich is there, a stunning location and a stunning restaurant. And on Sunday, Hal Griffith will actually be doing a food demonstration there. And check on the Abergavenny Food Festival site, and I'm going to be asking him your questions, so make sure you log in for that. What's it like working with the gorgeous James Martin? Julie, you are obsessed with James Martin. When I say I don't work with James Martin, he's got it's been great over the years. I've met some amazing people, and I've been very, very lucky to become very friendly with them. They've been super supportive. James Martin's just launched a new website, and he now has our brownies on there. Like I said, I'm super fortunate, but you know, you could too if you want to get into the food industry, and you'll get to meet some of your favorite chefs and what have you, and find out what they're really like. And they're all fabulous, by the way. Catherine, the stack of brownies in front of you is making me feel hungry. Do you like them? I mean, I couldn't not appear without brownies, and I didn't have any garnish of strawberries, so I stuck a sunflower. I don't know. I think we almost out of those. Let me just check on the other one. Any more Q&As? Passionate, bear with me. Really, and Edwina Clark, do you use organic ingredients? Do you think that's important to people? Honestly, my personal opinion, I don't. And unfortunately, I'm not, this could be controversial. My worry about organic things is farmers. We've got a lot of farmers around here. I know a lot of farmers. I know that the business that makes them have to do organic, they're having to jump through even more hoops. And I don't think that I would put down a farm, you know, I couldn't, as a farmer, if their crops were going to go haywire and they needed to use some sort of pesticides in order to save them and their livelihood, then I'd say go for it. I don't think that people are as interested in organic. Certainly for me, we use free range eggs, and do you know how often I get asked if we use free range eggs over these 14 years? I could probably count them on one hand. So clearly people spout a lot about being interested in it, but when it gets down to it, they're not really. Martin Alba, oh, hello you. Why don't I sell into shops? I sell into very, very, very few shops. I don't want to sell into the big shops because I don't want to get into their cycle of me working for them. Do sell into shops, actually. Martin, do your research. I know, Martin, it's all right, I'm not being rude. Claire knows your brownie butters are outrageously good. Do you have plans to copy Marmite and have a whole range of brownie items, brownie plus items, brownie snack bars, brownie cereal bites, brownie ice cream? Please say yes. Well, the brownie butters were invented by my husband, Rob. Genius idea. He got to thinking, he saw the boys, we have these massive mixers obviously we use, and our boys always looking at these mixers going around thinking they would love to, like, don't we all like sort of like lick the bowl out? They would love to get their hands in there. And it got Rob to thinking about how he could create a spreadable brownie. And because one of my sons was addicted to Nutella, and Nutella is full of rubbish, okay? And so he created the brownie butter, which is spreadable brownie in a jar, and it's palm oil free as well. And yes, it is absolutely outrageous. So we've got the 3 flavors now. We've got the brownie butter, the blonde butter, and the chocolate orange. Rob is always thinking of new inventions, and I kind of like the brownie bites, brownie snack bars. That would probably, the issue with that is packaging. That's what the problem is. That's what you're talking, you have to get flow wrap machines. Packaging is the bane of our life. Baking the brownies is the easy part. But never say never, Claire, and we'll put you on the tasting panel for that. Anonymous, where do you see the business in the future? Do you hope your children get involved and take it on? I think that's probably my son doing that. What I would genuinely like for both my boys is for them to go and work elsewhere. I kind of would, it would be nice if one of them did want to. I don't know if they are. They have been involved in it all through. My eldest, who's now 18 and a half, about to go to university, he's been folding boxes and earned a fortune since he was 9 years old. The other one, he's not so much interested in folding boxes, but I think he'll be more interested in sitting here and chatting to you. So he's very much like me, and I could see him being fantastic doing QVC and all the other things I do. Who's the sexiest man in food apart from Rob? Rob, stop answering questions. Do you do tours? Well, pre-COVID, we were discussing having moved to the brownie barns, that it would be a really nice thing for locals and people visiting the area to do a little brownie tour, so you could see it all in action, do some tasting. That's kind of been put on the back burner for the moment, but you never know. Never say never. How did you scale up your recipe and keep it the same? It's all numbers, Sophie. And I have a project manager, Rob, who really sorted that out. There's a bit of trial and error with everything. It's a bit like with new flavors. We're always trial and error at that, you know. It's all about when we do a new flavor or anything that's got in it with some sort of nuts or something, it's got to maintain the texture as well as get the flavor through it as well. Rosie, where do you source your packaging from? We have these tailor-made for us. If you're setting up your own business, there are many online where you can buy off the shelf, and I suggest you do that. That was our biggest outlay in our early years, where we had to have them tailor-made, but we order them in tens of thousands now at a time, so it makes it cost effective from us, but because we're obviously much further on in volumes. Have you co-created products with other brands? Yeah, occasionally it's things like Joe's Ice Cream, very well known here in Swansea. They've sort of done a collaboration with a brownie ice cream. It doesn't work so well with them because our brownies are so squidgy. They really need stale brownies to make brownie ice cream, and it's kind of, we thought it's a pretty pointless using such great quality ones and then mushing them through. We've also, with Hallen Morn sea salt, the best salt ever, we use their salt in our blondie butter. Of course, you know, keep it Welsh, keep it with our friends as well. Have you ever thought about doing baking classes? Are you what, me learning to bake or me doing baking classes, Laura? So Laura, highly unlikely, because like I said, I'm a one-trick pony. I do food demos at different shows when they're back on, but I don't like to give away the all-important secret of recipe of the brownies. Jill Weatherburn, lovely, lovely, lovely to hear from you. Fantastic home ec up north. You inspired me, Jill. You're amazing. You can do anything. So crikey, just do it. That's what I say to you. I think we're pretty much, I think I'm at the end of my questions, unless anyone from Abergavenny would like to tell me any different. I just would like to say, you know, thanks for coming along and listening to me witter. I realise I can go off at tangents. I had all these cue cards and I don't look at them at all. I really want to say to you that, say, 100 of you are going to be lucky enough to have free of charge a box of brownies delivered to your door. If you could do anything in return for me, it would be supporting the Abergavenny Food Festival. They've got a crowdfunder going at the moment. They are a non-for-profit organisation and they are amazing for people like me who are already established, but also for new producers and showing them how they can take their business to market. So you'd be doing yourself a favour if you could go along and donate anything to them whatsoever. It would be amazing, and just kind of show your appreciation for enjoying a glass of wine with me. I've not had a chance to drink very much, which is very unlike me, but I really hope that in some way I'm inspired by something hearing about my business, or for giving you ideas of what to do. If you do want to ask any questions on social media, just drop me a line and I'll be happy to reply, but bear with us. But thank you very much. I think I'm done. I don't know. I think I'm going to sign off. But thank you very, very much. And please show your support for Abergavenny Food Festival, because we really, really, really don't want to lose it, because it's my favorite time of the year. So go press that button, show them some love. Thank you, people. I'm ready to leave now. Goodbye from Brownie Towers.
So hello friends of Abergavenny. As you know,